When my wife told me she was going to sell me, I thought it was just another cruel joke. But during Prime Sales Day, she actually listed me online for sale. The description read, "This is my husband, a useless freeloader with no income. If anyone is interested in a spineless bum, feel free to place an order. Services provided are entirely up to the buyer. $200 per day or $50,000 to purchase the rest of his life. Whoever buys his future gets him exclusively, and I'll divorce him immediately. Wishing you both a lifetime of happiness." She posted it purely to humiliate me, never imagining that a wealthy woman would actually decide to buy my future. "Dexter, I'm selling you," my wife, Samantha Yates, said with a smug grin as she handed me her phone so I could read the post myself. My expression darkened instantly. Before we got married, I owned a successful business. After our wedding, Samantha enjoyed the luxurious life I provided for her. I even spent hundreds of thousands building a house for her parents back in their hometown, and I gave her brother $200,000 so he could buy a home and get married. But in the third year of our marriage, my tech platform company collapsed. Since then, I have been working from home, dedicating all my time to developing a video game. In Samantha's eyes, however, that simply meant I was a lazy parasite wasting my days playing games without earning a cent. "Samantha, don't you think this is going too far?" I asked coldly. "When I had money, I gave everything I could to you and your family. Now that I'm struggling, this is how you treat me." "Too far," she scoffed. "You've been sitting around at home for 2 years playing games all day. Am I wrong for calling you useless? And don't flatter yourself," she added mockingly. "No one's actually going to buy you anyway. It's not about whether someone buys me," I replied bitterly. "It's about how little respect you have for me. I've told you over and over, I'm working on a game. Once it succeeds, everything will change." "Wake up, Dexter," she sneered. "You'll never turn things around. And how are you so certain?" I shot back. "Take a look at yourself," she said with disgust. "You look like a complete wreck. The only thing separating you from a homeless beggar is the clothes you're wearing. And you still dare talk about success. All my time is going into developing this game." "Enough," she snapped, grabbing her bag. "I don't have time to listen to your excuses." She headed for the door. "It's already past 8 p.m. Where are you going?" I asked. "To work, obviously," she replied coldly. "How else do you think we're paying the rent? After my company went bankrupt, the bank repossessed our house. I'll pay the rent." I shouted instinctively. She only laughed before slamming the door behind her. After smoking a few cigarettes to calm myself down, I put on my helmet, opened the delivery app, and waited for orders. Before long, I accepted a crawfish delivery. The customer even added a $50 tip with a special request asking me to peel the crawfish for them. After picking up the order, I headed to the destination, Galactic Lounge Karaoke Bar. About 30 minutes later, I arrived outside room 8808. Just as I reached for the handle, I froze. Inside was Samantha. A group of 7 or 8 people sat laughing and singing around her, while she sat right beside her ex-boyfriend, Tyson Caldwell. The two of them were singing Only True Love together like an affectionate couple. Wasn't she supposed to be working late? Apparently, her overtime involved karaoke with her ex. A burning fury rose inside me like storm clouds gathering overhead. At that moment, a heavy-set girl opened the door. "Coming already," she said impatiently. I stepped inside quietly. Samantha was so focused on singing that she didn't even notice me. "Sit over there and peel the crawfish," the girl ordered casually. "Tell me when you're done." I sat in the corner with my back turned toward them and silently started peeling the crawfish. A few minutes later, the group decided to play truth or dare. Samantha lost and chose truth. So, Rebecca, the heavy-set girl, asked with a mischievous grin, "How often do you and your husband actually, "Ugh, don't disgust me," Samantha replied with open contempt. "Forget weekly. We haven't touched each other in over a year." "No way." "Seriously? Not even once?" someone asked in disbelief. "I swear," Samantha said, raising her hand dramatically. "If I'm lying, may I get hit by a car?" "Well, does your husband even work properly anymore?" someone joked with a snicker. "If he doesn't, I wouldn't care," Samantha replied coldly. "Samantha, That sounds awful, someone sighed sympathetically. It's a nightmare, she complained bitterly. You people have no idea how disgusting he is. He stays home all day playing games and living off me. Every second I spend with that loser feels unbearable. Oh, Samantha, you deserve so much better, Tyson said softly as he pulled her into his arms. If my mother hadn't opposed us back then, I never would have married that loser out of spite, Samantha said tearfully while clinging to him. Samantha, I failed you, Tyson whispered while gently brushing away her tears. Seeing you suffer hurts me too. A few tears aren't enough, someone shouted teasingly. Why not kiss and reignite the old flame? Yeah, kiss, kiss, the others cheered. I glanced over at them, fury raging through every inch of my body. They gazed into each other's eyes. Samantha bit her lips shyly before slowly closing her eyes and tilting her face upward. That was the final straw. What the hell is wrong with you? Samantha snapped angrily after I interrupted them. What's wrong with me? I roared, trembling with rage. My wife is about to kiss another man right in front of me, and I'm supposed to stay calm? Where exactly do you see cheating? Samantha argued shamelessly. Oh, please, I scoffed. You were seconds away from kissing him, and you're still denying it. So what if we kissed? She snapped arrogantly. Would your pathetic pride get hurt? If I'm shameless, then who's responsible for that? She continued viciously. You are. You live like a spineless loser, hiding in filth like a sewer rat. You're disgusting and worthless. If you can't make Samantha happy, Rebecca added smugly, maybe you should do the honorable thing and let her go. Exactly, another person chimed in. Know your place. Samantha was the campus queen back in college, and she's still gorgeous now. Meanwhile, you're just a delivery driver. How much are you even making? How much do you even make in a single day? Another girl mocked with a sneer. That's when I realized they were all Samantha's old college friends. Go take a good look at yourself in the mirror, one of them added contemptuously. After everything I witnessed that night, the anger consuming me was beyond description. My blood boiled as I walked out of that karaoke bar, leaving the peeled crawfish behind exactly as they had demanded. Before leaving, I cast one final glance at Samantha. She barely noticed me walking away. She was far too busy laughing and enjoying Tyson's attention while he comforted her like they were still together. Just hearing his name made my stomach twist with disgust. On the ride home, Samantha's cruel words replayed endlessly in my head. Disgusting. Worthless. That was how she saw me. Nothing more than dead weight. A useless man wearing slightly better clothes than a beggar. What hurt the most was the smug expression on her face, as though I was completely powerless, as though my fate was to silently endure every insult and humiliation she threw at me. When I got home, I sat on the couch for hours staring blankly at the wall. In Samantha's eyes, my life wasn't simply a failure. It was as if I didn't even deserve the chance to rebuild it. I could have exploded inside that karaoke room. I could have shouted, fought, or caused a scene. But I refused to give Samantha and her group of leeches the satisfaction of watching me lose control. She thought I was weak. Soon, Samantha would discover who the truly weak person was. I spent the entire night making plans. The next morning, while Samantha was still asleep, I carefully reviewed every document and contract tied to the money I had spent on her family. The house I built for her parents was legally registered under my name. The money I had loaned her brother had never been repaid. Every transaction, every agreement, every detail was properly documented, and I knew exactly how to use all of it. When Samantha finally woke up and acted as if nothing had happened, I had already made my decision. She tried to ignore me while making coffee, but I stopped her. Samantha, we need to talk. She glanced at me with boredom, clearly expecting another pathetic complaint. What is it now, Dexter? She asked while scrolling through her phone. Are you going to cry about that post again? I took a deep breath to stop myself from snapping. I'm not going to complain, I said calmly. I'm just telling you that I'm done. I'm done being treated like trash by someone I spent years putting above myself. You wanted to sell me? Fine. But first, let's settle all the debts you and your family owe me. For the first time, she froze. Confusion and suspicion flashed across her face. What are you talking about? she demanded. I'm talking about your parents' house. I'm talking about the money I gave your brother. Every cent is documented, and I want it all returned. Don't worry. I won't humiliate you publicly the way you humiliated me. I'll handle everything legally. For a brief second, her face turned pale, and I caught a glimpse of fear in her eyes. But as always, she quickly recovered and put on her arrogant expression again. You're unbelievable, she snapped. Are you seriously going to fight over money now, Dexter? After everything I've done for you? I laughed bitterly at her audacity. Everything you've done for me. I repeated. Samantha, you've never done anything for me unless there was something in it for you. But don't worry, you won't have to deal with me much longer. Our marriage is over. She stared at me in disbelief before bursting into mocking laughter. You really think you can survive on your own? She sneered. Look at you. You have nothing, Dexter. Absolutely nothing. I'm the only reason you're not homeless. It's funny hearing you say that, I replied coldly, because for years I thought the exact same thing about you. But now I realize I was wrong. You were never my support, Samantha. You were just a burden I carried for far too long. I picked up my things and walked out, leaving her standing speechless in the kitchen. The first thing I did was hire a lawyer. I explained everything. The money, the house, the financial support I had provided to her family, and the investments I had made over the years. He assured me that I had a strong legal case and immediately began taking action. At the same time, I devoted myself completely to my project. If Samantha believed my game was a joke, then she was about to choke on every cruel word she had ever said to me. 3 months later, I received news that the legal case was moving forward successfully. Her parents' house was on the verge of being auctioned to repay me, and her brother would either return the money he owed or face serious legal consequences. Meanwhile, I worked on my game day and night without stopping. I sacrificed sleep, exhausted myself endlessly, and poured every ounce of energy I had into making it succeed. Then, everything changed. The game launched. Not only was it successful, it became an instant sensation. Positive reviews flooded in, sales skyrocketed, and within weeks, I was making more money than I had ever imagined possible. When I earned my first $1 million, the only emotion I felt was relief. It was never truly about the money. It was about proving to myself that I was never the failure Samantha believed me to be. One afternoon, while reviewing contracts in my new office, I received an unexpected message. It was from Samantha. We need to talk. I'm sorry for everything. Can we start over? I burst out laughing the moment I read it. She was desperate. Through mutual acquaintances, I later learned that her brother had been forced to sell his house, her parents were struggling financially, and Tyson had abandoned Samantha the moment he realized she no longer had financial stability. I ignored her message completely. Samantha belonged to a chapter of my life that was permanently closed. Now, my focus is on the future, my success, and making sure no one will ever treat me that way again. Contrary to what Samantha believed, I was never weak. I was simply waiting for the right moment to reveal my strength. When I received her message asking to meet and start over, I felt both disgust and satisfaction. The same woman who once treated me like worthless baggage was now trying to crawl back into my life. Ignoring her wasn't enough anymore. After everything she had done, she needed to experience the same humiliation and pain she had inflicted on me so effortlessly. I agreed to meet her. I deliberately chose an upscale restaurant, the kind of luxurious place Samantha used to adore back when we were living in comfort and wealth. I knew she could no longer afford places like that, and honestly, that was part of my intention. By the time I arrived, Samantha was already seated at the table. She wore an outfit that clearly didn't belong in a restaurant of that caliber. She tried her best to appear elegant, but the exhaustion on her face and her forced smile exposed just how desperate she truly was. "Dexter, you came," she said nervously, trying to smile. "Of course I did," I replied calmly as I sat down. "How could I pass up an opportunity like this?" I ordered the most expensive wine on the menu and made sure the waiter announced the price loud enough for her to hear. "Well, I wanted to apologize for everything," Samantha began awkwardly. "I was stupid. I didn't know how to appreciate you." "Don't worry," I replied coldly. "I appreciated you enough for both of us." She continued talking, explaining how her life had fallen apart. Tyson had abandoned her. Her parents were about to lose their house. Everything had gone wrong, and she claimed she missed the man I used to be. Every word sounded rehearsed, like a desperate performance meant to earn my sympathy. I simply sat there watching her carefully, every gesture, every fake expression of regret, every trembling excuse. You know, Samantha, I finally said firmly, you're right about one thing. I have changed, but not because of you, despite you. I leaned slightly forward. You humiliated me. You treated me like trash. You exposed me to the world as if I were a complete failure. And now that you've hit rock bottom, you expect me to save you. She tried to interrupt and defend herself, but I raised my hand to stop her. I'm not finished. My voice remained calm, but every word carried weight. Do you know what I did after I left you? I worked. I fought. I proved that I'm far greater than you ever believed I could be. Today, I own a multi-million-dollar company. I have international business contracts and people who genuinely respect me. And do you know what you have now? I stared directly into her eyes. Nothing, because that's exactly what you deserve. Her face immediately lost color. People at nearby tables started glancing toward us, sensing the tension building between us. Do you remember that advertisement you posted to sell me online? I continued quietly. Well, Samantha, today I wouldn't spend a single cent on you. At that moment, she finally broke down crying. For the first time in years, I felt something close to relief. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need revenge beyond this. Her tears alone were enough proof that she finally understood the magnitude of what she had lost. I stood up and placed cash on the table to cover the bill. Before leaving, I looked at her one final time. Good luck, Samantha, I said calmly. You're going to need it. Then I walked out of the restaurant without turning back. Not because I was running away, but because that chapter of my life was finally over. Today, my life is better than anything I could have imagined a few years ago. My gaming company has expanded rapidly, and our newest release became a worldwide success. The media constantly reaches out to interview me, and my work is recognized internationally. I now live in a modern oceanfront home surrounded by people who genuinely value and believe in me. I've also started investing in social programs designed to help young developers enter the tech industry. Seeing many of them achieve their dreams has been incredibly rewarding, and I'm proud to know I played a role in helping them succeed. As for Samantha, I heard she's currently staying with a friend and relying on their charity to survive. Her parents lost their house, her brother failed to repay his debts, and Tyson disappeared from her life the moment her financial stability vanished. Even the so-called friends she once valued so highly abandoned her. Maybe I should feel sorry for her, but I don't. Every hardship she faces now is the direct result of the choices she made. And in the end, my greatest revenge was never humiliating her at that restaurant. My real revenge was proving to her and to everyone else that the strength she failed to see in me had always been there. Today, I'm living proof that no one has the right to define us by our failures. Yes, I fell, but I stood back up stronger than ever. And Samantha? She chose her own downfall, and now she has to live with it forever.